In 1982, Iron Maiden unleashed Number of the Beast upon the world. It was their third studio album and the first to feature the now iconic vocals of former Samson singer Bruce Dickinson. On this week's Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, we pay homage to the album that rained thunder down upon the music world and changed heavy metal forever. Also this week, Keith, Lily, and Lou welcome guest podcaster Emmy Susani, host of Chats with the Freak. And it all starts right now. Get ready to rock out with your talk out. You're listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, changing rock history one podcast at a time. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini, and it is that time once again to rock out with your talk out. Tonight, we are doing our monthly show where we take a classic album and we do a retrospective on it. This week, we are talking about Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast. Amazing record, and we're going to get into all that tonight. Before we get started, a couple of things. I want to give a shout out to our longtime sponsor, Wolf's Customs. Chris Thunder, Wolf Dotson, and gang. You can go to wolfscustoms.online and check them out. There's no reason, guys, to get on stage. Well, once you get on stage, or get on Zoom or Facebook or YouTube or whatever with a boring-looking guitar, the same kind of guitar that the last 5 bands were playing. No. You get with Chris Thunder, Wolf Dotson at wolfscustoms.online, and he is going to hook you up with a custom finish on your guitar that is just going to be... You're going to love it. You're going to go crazy. The fans are going to go nuts. You're going to get all kind of emails from people. All kind of people are going to show up in the chat going, "Oh my God, that guitar is so beautiful." And that's what's going to happen. Keith can testify to this because he had a drum done by Chris Thunder Wolf Dodson. And now Keith is he's almost so famous that he can't even be on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus anymore because this is what a custom paint job on your drums, your guitar, or your bass will do for you at wolfscustoms.online. Also, shout out to Rock Rage Radio, rockrageradio.com. Get the app. There's great guitar-driven rock 24/7, totally freaking free. You might love your Sirius subscription, but this is totally freaking free. Great guitar-driven rock 24/7 at rockrageradio.com. Correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, speaking of all that stuff, let's talk about who's with us tonight because we got a great show. First of all, we've got my brother from another mother from way down in Nolans, Keith the Hawk Hawkins. What's up, Keith?
What's happening? How's everybody doing tonight? Good?
We are just
Good?
groovy.
You all right?
We're groovy. And sitting next to me in the co-pilot's chair is Lily V6. What's up, Lil?
What's up? Watching a lot of movies.
Lots of movies?
That's what I'm doing.
I watched some movies that I won't tell you or Keith about because you guys will make fun of.
I would make fun of you anyway. But
Okay.
All right.
And as I said at the beginning of the podcast, we have our guest podcaster. We're going to try to do as many guests as possible from now on because it seems a lot of fun. It adds a different energy. Hopefully we can do a little cross promotion. Emmy Susani, the host of Chats with the Freak. Emmy, welcome.
What's good, guys?
Good to see you. Hey, before we get started, tell us a little bit about your podcast.
So Chats with the Freak is kind of an arm of MSU Media, which is my media company that's based out of Pittsburgh. I wanted a place where I could bring on really cool musicians and discuss things that people don't usually discuss. They kind of ask the same old questions over and over again. So I kind of wanted to take a different approach and ask artists kind of stuff that they wanted to actually talk about instead of just the normal mundane stuff that people usually throw at them.
Give me an example of something you ask that's not the normal mundane stuff.
I guess the one question that everyone says that they don't get asked is how they got started in music and what they wanted, what made them want to pursue music.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. So hang out with us tonight and and we're looking for we'll be anxious to hear your freak perspective on Iron Maiden.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So we're going to get into the topic here in a minute. As always, when we start out the show, we always start out with a band. We usually play maybe 3, 4 if we get a chance. Bands tonight, we are going to be featuring the music of LoveBone, Madzilla, LV, and Neverwake. The first band is LoveBone. I have no information on this band. I can't find a website for them or anything, but they are on a compilation, Skater Rock, Volumes 1, 2, and 3. Found it on Spotify. It's kind of cool. Check it out. We're going to come right back. We're going to get into our topic tonight. Number of the Beast. Guys, stick around. Thanks for hanging out. And just as a great punk rock song should, it ends nice and quick. That's a band called LoveBone, and you can find that Skater Rock Volumes 1, 2, and 3 on Spotify. Always follow me on Spotify, guys, because I create playlists just for the music each week. So if you're like, you don't want to hear to us jibber jabber, you just want to hear the music, I've got them like from time immemorial on here. There's literally years of playlists. So there's a lot of great music just on there. So if you have Spotify, check it out. Also, you can get the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus on Spotify. And one more thing before we get into this nice topic, I forgot to mention is if you love great guitar-driven rock, you like other people who, you want to hang out with a cool community of folks that are into it, maybe get some free music, cool conversation, access to all kind of exclusive stuff, please check out my website, LouLombardiRocks.com. Okay, number of the Beast. The Beast. Who wants to jump in first and kind of throw some twos? Do we want to do a little, maybe a little, have Lily give us like a little summary?
Do you want me to do the thing?
Do a little summary, Lily, and then we're gonna kind of get in it. Oh, hey, and also think about, guys. I wanna rate the tracks. I want to give our.
That's why I couldn't count. I had to do my ratings.
Rate worst to best tracks on the album. So in between whatever we're doing, jot down your ideas, and we'll come up with some kind of list. So
I already got that. I already got that shit, man.
You got that shit? Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Lil, go ahead and kind of give us a little background on the album.
All right, as you said in the introduction, it's the third studio album by one of my favorite heavy metal bands, Iron Maiden. I could talk about Iron Maiden on every show, and I think I pretty much do mention them on every show. It was released March 22nd, 1982 on EMI Records in the UK and Capitol Records in the US. It's the first album to feature Bruce Dickinson, and the last with Clive Burr. He was fired during the Beast on the Road tour and was replaced with Nico McBrain. He co-wrote The Number of the Beast, Gangland, and Total Eclipse. This album, as far as heavy metal albums go, had much commercial and critical success, which heavy metal didn't start out that way. A lot of people discriminated against them. But this one had so much success. By 2010, 14 million copies have been sold worldwide. It reached the top 40 in the U.S., certified gold by the RIAA in 1983, platinum by 1986, and that's just 4 years after its release. So
this is the album that really took them from, the leaders of the new wave of British metal to an internationally known band.
Right.
They became
everybody.
It's
Bruce.
Yeah, they were playing arenas. They started opening. When they came to the U.S. on that tour, they were opening for Foreigner, Ted Nugent, and Loverboy.
Right.
That's a lineup.
Now that doesn't match, does it?
You know what I mean? But they won those people over.
Interesting.
But obviously it was very controversial due to the name of the title track and the name of the album. Religious people hated it. Also the artwork. There were public burnings of the catalog, and some smashed the albums with hammers instead because they were fearing inhaling the fumes from the actual albums being burned.
Those devil fumes.
Right. So, but if they had actually taken time to listen or even read the lyrics, they probably wouldn't have thought it was sacrilegious at all. But, what do we know? And Steve Harris used a different approach in writing to cater to Bruce because he didn't think Paul Di'Anno was capable of handling the new way they were going.
They literally fired Paul Di'Anno, their singer who started the band with him, and brought in Bruce. But they had known Bruce because they had played with Samson when they were where they were club act.
The club kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't think Paul could handle the vocals or the new lyrics, so they switched it out. And Dickinson was heavily involved in writing many of the songs on the album, in particular Children of the Damned, The Prisoner, and Run to the Hills. And
Well, I have a sort of contradiction
Yeah,
on that.
go ahead.
But
I
no,
know,
that's okay. I think Keith is.
he wasn't credited, but
Let's talk about Keith. Let's talk to Keith. Throw it over to Keith. Keith, what do you go? What's on your Keith? Can you hear me? What's on your mind?
What about it?
What do you mean? What about it? We're
I
talking
can
about
hear you.
Iron
Go
Maiden.
ahead. What do you got? I'm just listening to you guys. You're covering all the good topics, man. I was just listening. I was like, half the
Sorry.
stuff you're saying, I was like, that's good. I like it. Go ahead, keep going.
I like
So
what you've
it's
done here.
It's all good, you know.
What was your? When did you
run
first?
the whole? Actually, we can stop the show now. If you
All right,
want
we're
to.
done.
I mean,
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. What was your reaction when you first heard this?
I can't
album?
hear you. What?
Can you hear me? Oh,
Uh-oh.
we having technical difficulties. You there, Keith?
Yeah.
So, what was your
I was
reaction when you first heard this album?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I think we're on a delay.
I thought they were going to definitely be used. It was one of them things. It was one of them things where you hear a band and it's such a. I mean, I like the first two records, but it's such a departure from that. You can tell instantly the vocals were just soaring, man. The guy's like a freaking machine. He's just, as soon as he opens his mouth, it's power coming out, and he's one of the best metal singers of all time. Which just happens to be coincidental because this album, I think, is probably, like you said, the album that sent them into international success. This album topped the charts in the UK. It actually broke the top 40 in the US. I mean, we're talking about the early 80s in a metal album where metal was starting to get its act together and really start to take the reins on a lot of Billboard stuff. So these bands weren't under the radar anymore. This is it. They were going for it. And with the singer lineup, the singer change, and then, unfortunately, the last album with Clive Burr on it, but Nico came in and does a remarkable job himself. So it's what else can you say? It's definitely an album that is a classic. It has to be one of the best metal albums of all time. I don't know where it ranks on a lot of people's lists, but I think it's up there with the heavyweights of all time when it comes to all in all metal albums. So,
where did you hear it?
You got me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Where did you hear it, Keith? When you first heard it, did somebody give you a tape? Did you hear it on MTV? Like, where did you first hear it? Keith, you there?
I heard
He's thinking.
probably I've heard Run. Yeah, you got me?
Yeah.
I heard Run to the Hills was the first song I heard from the album, which is probably, still probably one of their biggest, commercial success hits. They had the cool little black and white Indian video with it, and it just was one of the things where, and I think a lot of my friends in high school were the Mullet Gang were passing around tapes, and we were listening to it, and we were like, this band's going to freaking blow up, and it did.
Because I remember it being very hard to hear in Pittsburgh. Like Pittsburgh did not want to play this at all. But I did hear it on the Metal Shop, which was like a thing that the big rock station had on up to 11 o'clock at night on Sundays or something. So it wouldn't offend too many people. 11 o'clock at night. Emmy, what are your or are you a?
Oh yeah, I mean, you are controversy, man.
Yeah. Emmy, what are your sort of thoughts on the record? Are you familiar with it at all?
I'm very familiar with this record. I'm not going to act like I'm a huge history buff of Iron Maiden because I'm not. I love Maiden, but I'm not like a huge history buff. I can't rank their albums or anything like that. But this album for me was one of the first metal albums I heard growing up, like Run to the Hills, Number of the Beast. Those were tracks my brother used to put on in the car, and I was like, oh, this is heavy metal. This is really cool.
I remember it being really hard to hear because, like I said, it wasn't anything that you could other than the Metal Shop, I heard it once. I heard Number of the Beast once or twice, Run to the Hills once or twice. But that was, it just was not one of those things that made mainstream rock at all. They were, because of MTV, the Run to the Hills video was the sort of thing that got them on MTV. Let's talk about some little known facts about this record. Who wants to jump in?
What little known facts do you want to know?
I have a whole list, but if you guys have any you want to talk about,
What do you want?
Like, for instance, Lily mentioned when she read the.
No, you go ahead with that because.
What are you doing over there?
The dog's going crazy.
We've talked about. Even though Bruce was involved in the writing process, he was not allowed to take any credit. He wasn't allowed to legally take part in the writing process because he still had a contractual obligation to Samson.
Yeah.
So Adrian Smith, he wrote one of the tracks on there, 22 Acacia Avenue or whatever that is.
Acacia, yeah.
Acacia Avenue, and but Dickinson wasn't allowed to be.
He wasn't
credited.
allowed to have the credit for any of his writing.
Yeah,
He did assist with the writing.
Yeah, they said he made moral contributions to the writing process. Now, do you guys know the story about the car wreck?
Yeah.
The Martin Birch, the producer.
We talked about this on the show before, but yeah.
Yeah, he was. He had a car wreck with a minibus, and hit a van full of nuns. And it was a bad accident. People were injured and everything.
Really?
Yeah. Check it out. The bill for the repairs to his Range Rover was literally 666 pounds.
Which is a creepy nice fact.
Oh my god!
But I'm still not relating it to.
That's so eerie. Oh my god!
Man.
I will never relate it to anything bad.
So what else? So Lily, who wants to chime in? Anybody got anything they want to talk about?
I have little tidbits about every song when we get to that part of it, but I don't have any of these little extra fun things.
Okay. I'm going to give you another little extra fun thing. The track was inspired. The title track, Number of the Beast, was inspired by a nightmare that Steve Harris had after he watched the movie Omen 3. This is the Omen movie I've never seen. Have you ever seen Omen 3, Keith?
I can't watch it alone.
Hell no.
I've never seen Omen 3. I've seen the first two.
I have it at the house. You want me to bring it over?
But I've never seen that one, so I don't know if it's any good.
I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of it. It's one I know what the premises of it. He's an adult. He's like some kind of senator. I think Sam Neill, if you know who that is.
Yeah, Sam Neill's in it. Yeah,
the grown-up Damien, and then he ends up getting killed at the end. If you hate to ruin it, but.
He dies at the end.
But at the end, the good triumphs over evil, like it always does, hopefully. And that's what. Yeah.
But,
hate to give it away.
Yeah.
In that movie, the Titanic, the boat sinks too. So I'm just not.
Yeah. It's like JFK. Well, he dies.
Full
at the
spoilers
end.
tonight. Sorry, people.
Say, guys, we're having some internet issues, so be patient with us, please. Yeah, but the album was heavily opposed by right-wing social conservatives, and they smashed it with hammers because they were afraid that burning it would allow the evil gases
to be inhaled,
and people would take the devil in.
People are crazy.
If I, thought that would happen,
people are crazy.
Was that?
People are insane. That's basically it.
That album caused a lot of controversy in the States. Americans are so easily offended, I guess.
And it was the U.S. is where people were offended.
It's
It
okay
wasn't the UK at all.
Yeah. The UK and the Europe and everywhere else they had no problem with it.
Yeah, I mean,
we're very sensitive here.
I would recommend to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, a heavy metal album will set people off.
I would recommend everybody out there to watch the classic albums. There's a series called Classic Albums, and there's a Classic Albums documentary on Number of the Beast. And when you see them talk, these are 5 of the most laid back,
Oh yeah.
like no ego kind of guys at all.
Proper Englishman.
Yeah, they just seem like very nice guys. In fact, one of the things that really impressed me is Bruce Dickinson. He's funny.
Yeah.
He's got like a really good sense of humor. He's very kind of self-effacing, and he's not afraid to make fun of himself.
And apparently he's very approachable. If you see him in public, he'll sit there and talk to you forever about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah.
That's what I've read.
Is that true? That's cool. That's cool. But in any case, he's a very approachable kind of dude. You can hang out with him, and it'll all be good. So, we're gonna play another song. We're gonna come back and talk about the
That's how most of them are, though.
Are they? Do you find that metal? Do you interview a lot of metal people on your show, Emmy?
Yeah, I interview a variety, but most of them are metal, and most of them are just so chill and laid back.
Yeah, they get it all out on stage.
Yeah,
All the
they
aggression.
don't feel violent anymore.
But we're gonna play Madzilla LV, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about the songs, and we're gonna do a little ranking of the songs. This track's called "The Last Goodbye." We'll be right back on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Madzilla LV, not AV, LV. I can't talk today. Madzilla LV. You want to go to MadzillaLVBand.com. We open the show with a little band called LoveBone. And by the way, when you look for LoveBone on Spotify, it is one word: LoveBone. LoveBone. Not like Mother LoveBone.
Not like Mother LoveBone.
Something like that, just LoveBone.
No.
No.
Although
Keith.
I would hope people would know the difference, but that's fine.
But yeah. So, Keith, what is your your favorite Iron Maiden drummer?
They've had so many.
I know they've had a little bit of a rotating a lineup there. Not quite as bad as Spinal Tap, but
Well, at least I think Clive Bird, he is dead actually, though. I think Nico McBrain's not. To me, Nico has probably got the bigger body of work. He just wanted more albums. I mean, Clive Bird's won 3 records, man. I mean, I don't know what else he did besides that. To me, they sound almost identical technique-wise. They have very similar styles, Nico has a edge because I've heard more of his work. Sorry, I have to go with Nico, and I wish I knew more. I wish I knew more Clive Bird stuff. All I know is him playing with Iron Maiden. He sounds good on the first 3 records from what I can hear.
is Nico was he would come on and do he would come on in a devil suit.
Was that Nico?
Yeah, he was the guy in the devil suit on that
before
tour.
He was a drummer. I think he was affiliated. Yeah, he was affiliated with the band somehow.
Yeah, he was a
drummer.
He was a drummer in another band that they toured with, and so he would come out and put on the devil suit and run around with a pitchfork and like chase, and Eddie would chase him around. And
How do I get that job?
Where do I apply?
I can be paid to run around in a devil suit.
You're listening to Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Go to LouLombardiRocks.com for more info. WolfsCustoms.online is our long loving sponsor, and shout out to RockRageRadio.com. We have Emmy Susani on the show as well. Emmy, what is I forgot to ask you at the beginning. What's how do people find you on the internet?
I'm on most streaming platforms, so if you search on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, anything like that, just search Chats with the Freak, it'll come up. But if you go on to msumedia.com, there's a link on there. There's a tab at the top for the podcast.
Awesome. Okay, just want to make sure we got that in there. So if folks are going like, "Hey, this is really cool. Like, how do I find this person?" So that's how we find you. So let's get into some of the songs, man. Let's talk the songs. Do we have a list?
Come on, man.
I have track by track.
We have a list of the tracks. Do you guys want to try to rank them? Let's talk about you want to talk about the tracks first, and then try to rank them at the end. Let's do that.
All right.
Lily, pick a track, and then the 3 of us will tell you what we think of it.
Well, I'm just going in order. So the opening song is Invaders. It was actually a regret to Harris putting the song as the first song. He didn't think it was good enough. It could have been replaced with something better. But at the time, they didn't have anything to replace it with, so they were sort of just kind of rushing along. I think I saw you in your notes. It was like 5 weeks. that they got their album
Yeah,
done
the album was recorded in 5 weeks.
Yeah, so they didn't have anything to replace it with. But it does. I think it's a good opener. It sort of sets a tone. But it describes the graphic violence and horror of Nordic conquest of England. So it's pretty straightforward. It's in your face. And this is like one of the first of the tradition of battle songs that they did, like the Trooper, Duelists, and then Run to the Hills. So I think it works as the first track. But even though they they didn't really like it as their first song.
Are you guys familiar with the track? It's not one I know.
Of course.
Well. What is your favorite?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
like
Keith?
just real straight ahead kind of. It's a good opening track. I don't think it's a great song. I mean, compared to the rest of the album, but I mean, it's a lot of times that first track really can set the tone for the album. It's energetic, it's rocking, it's straightforward, and it kind of, starts the album off in a pretty upbeat way. So, I mean, it's not like you want to put a ballad first. So, I mean, yeah, you want something to come out and
well, they do.
On,
we'll
man.
talk about it a little bit. There is a sort of a ballad on this album. We'll get to that a little bit later. So what do you got next?
The next track is Children of the Damned.
That's the one I was thinking.
This is my favorite one on the whole album, actually. This is my number one. It was inspired by the 1963 film of the same name. It's about 6 children with psychic abilities who are forced to battle for survival against, the world. Or the human race, I guess. I do like the mix of acoustic and electric in this song. I think that's why it's my favorite, because they were able to do both on a metal song. And it's sort of like you can hear in the song the sadness and the loss in it. It's one of their most memorable songs. Bruce said he was heavily influenced by Black Sabbath's "Children of the Grave" while singing it.
It is the closest thing that you'll hear to a ballad
from them.
Yeah, I mean, because I heard Steve Harris talking about this and saying that. That usually they do songs where they'll do like a more mellow section and they rock it back out, or they'll start with something kind of soft and slow and then rock it up. But they said this one kind of stays that way. Thoughts, guys, on Children of the Damned? Emmy, Keith?
Emmy? Go ahead, Emmy.
I dig that song a lot. I'm not hella familiar with a lot of the songs on this record. I'm going to be totally honest with you. And I said that at the beginning. But I actually do know this song, and I do really like it. I think it has what Lily said. It has a good mix of acoustics and electric and a metal song, which wasn't really that, I think, that done back then. It's not even that done now.
You familiar with Children of the Damned, Keith?
Of course. That's how they do. You got wooden balls, man. Yeah, that's just a very melodic song. I mean, it definitely is. I'll agree. It's slower, ballad-ish, we'll say, compared to mostly all their songs, and it's dynamic, and it does have a very cool vibe to it. It's probably one of the songs that are a little different on the album. It's definitely not my favorite song on the album, but it's one of them ones that just stands the test of time. And I haven't seen Iron Maiden live in years, but last time I seen them, they were constantly like doing this song in their live set.
They said it was in a set for many, many, many years.
Oh yeah.
I have to say, so far, the track selection, I'm surprised at them going for this slow track number 2. That seems like they might want to put that a little bit later in the album.
You would think.
So what's the next track on the album?
The next one is The Prisoner. It was inspired by a British cult TV show of the same name. This is one of the songs that starts out with spoken dialogue, which I love in most songs. I do like when they do that. And that was from the TV show that they took. It's a prisoner that eventually escapes a village at the end of the song. But what's interesting is he finds himself back to square one in another song back in the village on the 1984 album Power Slave. So it kind of does a little circling around back to another song on another album. So I think that shows how genius the band can actually be with this.
The actor who I don't have it in my notes.
I don't have his name either.
Who played the prisoner.
I've read that. Yeah, it was somewhere. I forget. It was some English actor.
Yeah, they really wanted to use this on the album, and so they talked their manager into calling him. And they were all in the room, and the manager
they should have used Basil Rathbone. Remember that? Do you know that guy? He Sherlock Holmes for years.
Yeah, right.
I just think that's a great name, Basil Rathbone. Matter of fact, if I could start a band, I would Basil Rathbone.
Basil Rathbone. But they called the guy.
Yes.
The whole band was in the room while their manager was on the phone. And I guess their manager was nervous and he said everything wrong. And they were all like throwing stuff at him. And so when they hung up the phone, the guy's like, "Why were you so nervous on the phone with this guy?" And he said, "Well, because he's a big star, not like you assholes." But they did get to use that, and they said it was cool. So.
Great.
Little tidbit about that. Again, guys, refer to the classic album documentary. It's not to be missed. It's really good. If you haven't seen it, check it out. What's the next song?
The next one is 22 Acacia Avenue. It's a sequel to Charlotte the Harlot, the prostitute that they've sung about before, and the dark side of her profession and the consequences. And it's about the singer trying to talk her out of doing what she's doing. Adrian Smith wrote the song. And actually did it originally with the band Urchin, but he totally forgot about the song. And then as they were coming up with material for the album, they're like, "Hey, let's like bring this into the mix." And that's what they did. They included it on this album.
It's got lyrics like "caress her,"
It's got
"molest her."
It's got dirty things in it. It's dirty.
It's like "beat her," "eat her." I mean, it's really
It's almost like verbal. It's almost like porn in song version.
It really is. It really is.
It's
verbal.
dirty.
It's Pornhub from that.
It's verbal porn for you all.
Oh man, I was when I watched the documentary, like as they're singing the song, I had the captions on, and I was like cracking up with the lyrics. I'm like, oh my,
They're dirty.
God.
They're bad.
It's a really, metal bands don't usually sing like stuff about sex too much. It's usually about
bands like that. No.
war and death and science fiction and swords and stuff like that.
And Iron Maiden's known for doing more of the epic type of stuff, not what AC/DC would do and continually sing about sex. So
yeah.
this was kind of a surprise.
That's what it reminded me of. It was like just like AC/DC lyrics in an Iron Maiden song.
Right.
Are you guys know this song at all? Keith?
I do.
You do? Uh-oh.
Yes, I do.
Keith's giving that little devil look on his face.
It is nasty. Like I said, it's verbal porn, but it's a cool song though. I mean, it's the surprising thing about this album is only 8 tracks on the album, so I would probably put it somewhere in the middle. It's not the great song on the album. It's not the worst song. It's kind of but yeah, it's definitely got some racy lyrics, I will say.
Yeah, things that'll make your mother blush. All right, what's next?
Okay, so this is side 2 for those of you who know what vinyl is. The Number of the Beast as the first song on side 2. Second single released on the album. This is the song that caused the controversy with the religious groups. It is one of their most popular songs. It's been performed at almost all of their concerts, all of their tours. Steve Harris said it was inspired by a nightmare that he had after watching The Omen. In addition to a poem by Tom O'Shanter, or called Tam O'Shanter by Robert Burns. Again, it's one of those ones that starts out with the spoken word. It's Revelations, which I love that. And they did want Vincent Price to actually read that part, but he wanted way too much money. So they said, we'll just get someone else to read it. And they got Barry Clayton to read it. So
for years, I thought it was Vincent Price.
Because it was pretty convincing. It sounds like him.
Yeah,
it does
I
like
thought
him.
for years, like, oh, cool, Vincent Price.
Vincent Price wanted Michael Jackson money. That's why he did Thriller.
Yeah.
Vincent, he was in demand in the 80s,
right,
man.
He's like, Iron Maiden, you got... He was like, Iron Maiden, you guys ain't got enough money. I want some Michael Jackson type money. And he was like, come on over, I got it for you.
That's pretty much how that went.
He wanted to be mainstream.
His last movie was Edward Scissorhands.
Which I loved.
And he barely finished it. He was very ill during the making of that movie.
You can kind of see that, though.
Yeah, he was very frail, but he really believed in the project and wanted to do it. It's one of those songs I think it's like a great melody, great guitar work. What I'm really shocked about this album is, though, I would have put Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills on the first freaking side.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really like, these other songs are really good. And they are really captivating. Like, The Prisoner is great. I love The Prisoner. But I would have thought that, like, you would have put, like, your hits
on the first,
side. It just goes to show you that it got people going so much that it didn't matter. People.
I think a lot of times too, the band sometimes have a different vision of the album than what the actual public perceived. Where they're like, when they put out the song, sometimes they're on the same page. We put out a song and the song flops, and then you think, hey, okay, we'll just go on. Hopefully, there'll be another single off it. I don't know what they were. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what they were feeling about those songs, but those songs back to back between Number the Beast and the next one are two of their mainstays. You know?
Yeah, well, two of the greatest songs in heavy metal, arguably of all ever. For sure. You just, Well, one of the things I just want to say real quick, another factoid about this record is, and this may be why the order is the way that it is that the record was not done. It wasn't ready to be released for the tour. Mm-hmm. They had to go out on tour. So they released the song I believe you're going to talk about next as a single. Yeah. And that, because it was their only hit single. It went to number 5 on the charts in the UK. And but I think that people got to hear the songs live before the record came out. So that may have been why, it didn't matter, because people loved the music live. So what's the next song?
The next song is Run to the Hills, which is what he's talking about. It is their first single released on the album. Also one of their most popular songs. It's about Europeans coming to the Native American lands, described from both points of view, which I love. The natives in the first verse and the Europeans in the rest of the song. The video features scenes from the 1923 silent movie, The Uncovered Wagon.
Some band keeps trying to play.
The Uncovered Wagon, which is a parody of the 1923 film, The Covered Wagon. The song is, for my own personal thing, one of my songs that I drive way too fast to, and this is probably what's going to get me arrested.
It's definitely the floor. The gas pedal goes to the floor when this comes on.
Every time.
You got, and if the cop pulls you over, you can say,
"Look,
officer, I was listening to Run to the Hills," and he's going to go, "Oh no, it's fine. Go ahead.
You're good, Lily. Go ahead.
Put on some Air Supply next or something." Mm-hmm. Keith,
I don't have Air Supply.
You got something you want to say about it?
Of course. I can't help myself. The one cool thing about this song is not only is it an awesome song, but every time, no matter what band I'm playing with, it doesn't matter if it's country, funk, rock, Amish reggae. If I start playing that drum intro, people know what it is. It doesn't matter who it is. If I start playing that shit is infectious, and you know exactly what it is before you even hear any vocals. That's the power of cool drum grooves.
Legit.
Yeah, dynamite track. One of these tracks, and I'm going to go back and look at my notes. That Bruce Dickinson actually came up with the drum part too.
Wasn't it that?
Yes.
Was it?
Yeah.
You got me on that. You got me on that one, sir.
No. The Prisoner. It wasn't that one. It was The Prisoner that the drummer wasn't in the room, and Bruce sat down at the drum set, and they started putting The Prisoner together. But yeah, Run to the Hills. Okay. I'm sure, Emmy, I'm sure you love the song, right?
Oh yeah, that was one of the first songs that got me into metal. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what's left? We're here towards the end here.
Gangland, one of the shorter of the Iron Maiden songs. It's about the fear of life in Al Capone 1930s style gangland times. They had to choose between this song and the song that didn't make it on the original album, Total Eclipse, and this is the one they chose. They felt this was the wrong choice. It's an okay song. I don't love it. It's number 8 on my list. I don't think it's Maiden standards of a song. I don't think it sounds like a Maiden song, but I still like it. A little bit jazz, a little bit of rock, or a lot of rock. And they have literally never performed this song live. Not once.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. You put a song on an album and you just go, no. We're just not going to, it just wasn't, if they weren't feeling it. Are you familiar with the song, Keith?
Yeah, it's all filler, no killer.
Legit.
Okay, so it's not a good song.
It's just not a strong song. I mean, for the album, the one thing that surprised me about this record, and I don't even know if maybe the first two would probably compare to it. You look at the total length in this album, it's less than 40 minutes long. That's kind of hard to fathom on a Maiden album. But so these songs, they were going for more of a commercial sound with these songs. But I mean, Gangland when it comes to this, these 8 songs, Gangland definitely is the runt of the litter, we'll say. But
sometimes you try and you sometimes you shoot and you miss. Yeah, it just happens. So what we got? One more.
The last song on this, on the original release, was "Hallowed Be Thy Name," one of the greatest heavy metal songs of all time, one of the band's signature songs. It has remained in almost all of the band's sets since the album's recording. The only exception is the Maiden England World Tour in 2012 to 2014 and the second leg of the Book of Souls Tour in 2017. It's the tale of a prisoner being about to be hanged. Has some of Harris's most philosophical lyrics in it, as all of them are really very epic. But most of the band has stated that this is their favorite track and one of the most covered songs of all time by the band, with versions released by Dream Theater, Machine Head, Cradle Filth, and Iced Earth, plus many more. So obviously one of the favorites.
Bruce said that he viewed this as narrating a movie.
That's cool.
So
I can see that.
The song is very, very cinematic. And yeah, Keith, Emmy, either one of you guys got comments on "Hallowed Be Thy Name"?
Definitely a Maiden classic. I don't know what to say, man. I could really get pumped. I could start pounding my fist on the freaking table like Khrushchev at the goddamn peace
He needs
meetings.
a podium.
I mean, it's just like when I'm gonna take my shoe off in a minute. It's this classic Iron Maiden. This got cool changes. And I just listened to it today, and I'm like, this shit is dope because it's like it got really cool changes. It has that Iron Maiden signature sound, which sometimes is called what I refer to as the gallop they use in a lot of songs. But I mean, I hate to get ahead of ourselves, but I think it's the best song on the record.
Okay,
man.
so let's go ahead and rank.
One of the best Iron Maiden songs of all time, and they've had some freaking good songs.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put numbers by the tracks here. So what we're going to do is what are we going to say is we're going to go worst to best.
Gangland is my worst.
What do you think, Keith?
Gangland's my worst too.
Okay, so that is number 8. All right. Now, what's number 7 going to be, guys?
My number 7 is Invaders.
Keith?
Hold on a second, I can't read. Oh yeah, I got Invaders too. You're gonna ask Demi, or she's just hanging out? I got Invaders too as the number 7. So we're on her.
Do you have any feelings about the ranking of the tracks on this, Emmy?
Not really. I don't feel like I know enough about Maiden to successfully rank something or have an opinion. So I'm going to agree with you guys on this. I'm enjoying this.
All right, cool. All right, so we got 8 is Gangland, 7 is Invaders. What's number 6, gentlemen? Lady and gentleman.
22 Acacia is my 6.
Keith?
Unfortunately, you might not agree with this one, Lou. I got The Prisoner as number 6. It's just kind of like one of them. I don't know. Doesn't suck. It's not great. It's kind of.
Okay, so not one of your favorites. Okay, so 6 is The Prisoner. What's number 5?
I have The Prisoner as number 5.
Okay. Keith, what do you have as number 5?
I got 22 as number 5. So
so you guys are flip-flop. So close.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Lily and Keith kind of on the same page with some stuff here. It's like,
that doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't.
Although I think my next one is probably not his next one. Hallowed Be Thy Name is my number 4.
What do you have for number 4, Hawk?
I got Children of the Damned for number 4.
Children of the Damned is your number 4. Okay, so what? So Lil, what's your number 3?
Run to the Hills.
Keith?
Number the Beast.
It's
I think it's an anthem.
I mean, these next
it's a metal anthem, but I mean, Run the Hills just has that commercial.
These next 3 though are just kind of like, what order do you want to put them in? So what do you got for number 2, Lil?
Mine is Number the Beast for number 2.
And what do you got for number 2, Keith?
Run to the Hills.
And number 1 is?
My number 1 is Children of the Damned.
And Keith,
my number 1 is Hallowed Be Thy Name, because that's why it's the last song on the album, man. Save the best for last.
But our 4 is the same, just in different order.
Yeah. No. That's all right, man. So we're just going to kind of for now, just with Keith's list and Lily's are very, very close. We got Gangland, Invaders, The Prisoner, the Children of the Damned. Oops, I said it. I can't. I'm sorry. 22 Acacia Avenue, Children of the Damned, Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills, Hallowed Be Thy Name. I mean, I think when you get to tracks like
4 through 1,
4 through 1, you're like, well, it's just what mood are you in that day?
Right, legit.
You know what I mean? To which one you want to hear?
It's a tough call. There's not a lot of. It's 8 songs total on this album. It's hard to rank them. I'm definitely, Gangland never did nothing for me. Invaders, even though it's the first track on the album, is kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of a blah song to me. But it does kick off the album in an energetic way. But the rest of the album just starts to really get more. Here's another good word to capture this album too. If you listen to the first two records, I understand Paul Di'Anno was a more kind of one-dimensional singer. But if you listen to the first two records, it had some punk influences in there. There was some songs that were like punky. This album was very mature. Like they took a step in a more, I don't want to say metal direction, but they took a step in the direction where the parts were more sophisticated, and they were just like, it was just a more mature writing process. And for me, this set them off not only as like an international success, but this isn't even really my favorite Maiden album. The one after this, Peace of Mind, is a freaking epic, man. And that album is killing. I think it's the best Maiden album to this day. This set that up, though. This album here is freaking great. But I think it's set it up for great things to come. And the album after this is a timeless metal classic, too. So.
What really blows my mind on this album is Run to the Hills and Number of the Beast, Hallowed Be Thy Name, are like in the canon of metal. You know what I mean? And they're like all on the same album, and they're all with the first time with this singer. It's like right out of they are like a new band. And one of the things Bruce Dickinson said, Bruce Dickinson had his eyes on that spot as a lead singer for Iron Maiden for a long time. Mm-hmm. He wanted to be. He couldn't get Samson to really do what. It's funny because he couldn't get Samson to do what he wanted to do, and Maiden couldn't quite bring Paul Di'Anno to do what they wanted to do. You know what I mean? But they knew each other, so it's a really like kind of a happy accident, or else we would not have this absolutely amazing record. Let's go around the room real quick. Anything anybody wants to plug? This is your chance, Lily.
Hot Licks with Lily 6 Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern. Go to rockrageradio.com or download the free app on your phone.
Keith, anything you want to plug, talk about before we get the hell out of here?
Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, I'm actually going to take my drums, set them up in a place, play live, and actually make money. And that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Congratulations, man.
Yes.
It's a long.
May 23rd. I'll probably have to wear a biohazard suit, but I'm going to play on a stage and play music to an entire campground. You got to do what you got to do.
Go live and tag us.
Yeah, let me see it. Cool for you.
I might. I will do that.
And Emmy, go ahead and plug your stuff.
Check out Chats with the Freak on Fridays. It's on MSU Media. You can like us on Facebook. Please do that. And you can check it out on msumedia.com. And you guys can check out these cool-ass shirts that I just got into.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
And her photography is awesome, too.
I did not. Yeah, that's right. You do photography. That's how I met you. I think you already knew Emmy.
I've known Emmy,
but
for a minute.
What show? Was that the Y&T concert?
Yeah. I was doing photos for Royal Honey.
Okay, cool. And I'm wearing this very excellent shirt I got for my birthday that says "The Guitar Father"
Nice.
in the Godfather
I
font.
get it. Yeah.
Very cool.
Iron Maiden for me.
Okay, guys, Iron Maiden. Go on and listen to an Iron Maiden catalog this week, and we'll catch you guys all in the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi. LouLombardiRocks.com is the website. We are going to wrap up with one more. We're going to get the hell out of here with Neverwake. Have a great week, guys. We'll catch you all in the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.